Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 382 of the Spearhead Sundays podcast. I'm your host, Lewis Spears, and the Melbourne Comedy Festival is happening right now. LouSpears.com. Get your tickets. The shows are on right now. Tickets are selling quick. And we've got Serial Pest t-shirts and posters that I'll be signing. They're on the website as well. They'll also be sold at the shows. Get them at LouSpears.com. Thank you for supporting what I do, and I'll see you at the shows. Now, really important news regarding the shows, just right off the bat here. I've got this news story. This is why you should buy tickets. King Charles cancels trip after being hospitalized again. So look, I'm not wishing ill will on anybody, but what I am doing is crossing my fingers and hoping that we get another moment. That's all I'll say. Okay, time to get your tickets. We might make history again. We could go 3 for 3, all right? We got Prince Philip and the Queen. Can we get the King? King Charles has cancelled public engagement after being briefly hospitalised due to side effects from his ongoing cancer treatment, Buckingham Palace says. I think the problem is he, after a prostate exam, he had a little go of it with his own big fat fingers and has ruptured a hole. The 76-year-old returned to Clarence House, but plans for him to travel to Birmingham for a series of public engagements on Friday have been scrapped. What was he going to do in Birmingham? Get pissed on a night out and punched in the back of a head? What's next? King Charles' state visit to Italy is still set to go ahead in April with some changes to the planned schedule, the palace said this week. King Charles has been forced to cancel public engagements. He required a short period of observation in hospital. All right. Charles had been expected to visit the city's Royal Ballet, open a new hospital, and visit a church and a Sikh temple. What has it got in there? A fucking skate park? A fucking Sikh temple, dude. All right, the Birmingham... tomorrow he was due to undertake 4 public engagements in Birmingham and is greatly disappointed to be missing them on this occasion, read a palace statement. He very much hopes that they can be rescheduled in due course and offers his deepest apologies to all those who would work so hard to make the planned visit possible. Not the worst thing that England has done to a hospital recently. The King's state visit to Italy is still set to go ahead from April 7th, with some changes to the planned schedule. They didn't detail what the side effects were and has never disclosed what type of cancer the King has. The King's cancer was detected when he had treatment for an enlarged prostate. So I think we can all guess what type of cancer he's got. He's got bumhole cancer from sitting on a throne that was built with blood. He stepped away from public duties until last April for a period of treatment and rest, but continued fulfilling state duties such as mooching off the government and providing little to no revenue to the state. Such as reviewing government papers and meeting with the Prime Minister. What does he do? This guy doesn't do anything. Reviewing. Do you reckon we actually need the approval of a 76-year-old sausage-fingered fucking idiot to do anything? Do you reckon he's really sitting there reviewing the papers? No, he's not. He's sitting in his palace all alone, doing his fucking royal podcast. All right, working a real job, being a podcaster, a much more stressful job than being monarch of a failing empire. Charles' illness came as the Princess of Wales, Catherine, was also diagnosed with cancer. Damn, karma's real. Anyway, I need to address a controversy from last episode. The 3 minutes of silence that was left in the episode because the microphone fell off and I had to fix it in the middle of an impassioned rant. Got a lot of comments from people saying, Keelan's doing a bad job at editing. Why wasn't this edited out? I want to say here right now, yes, Keelan does a poor job here. All right? And we all know that.
Hey.
And what?
Hey
man, what's up? And we all know that, and that's established law. However, all right, I edited that video and I decided to leave it in because I thought it was funny to leave in 3 minutes of uninterrupted silence and muttered swearing of me trying to fix my own failing podcast equipment. Because I think that's a good bit. And anyone who complained about that just revealed themselves as someone very new to the show, because as we all know, that used to be most of the show. So you're actually lucky that there was only 3 minutes of it in the last 6 months, because that used to happen every episode, baby. That was actually the appeal of Spearhead Sundays. Is that, the podcast is okay, but I actually prefer the bit where he breaks part of the set and then swears while trying to fix it, or spends 20 minutes rummaging around his room, screaming, looking for his inhaler. Yeah. That was most of the show. Like me screaming into a USB microphone from my bedroom halfway across the room. Because I couldn't find my fucking puffer, because my bedroom was just full of cheap film gear from eBay, lights that are almost definitely a fire hazard, and green screens that are made from the skin of Chinese children in the factory who didn't work fast enough. Another comment I need to address from last episode. Someone wrote, I don't find Lewis very funny. I don't view him as a comedian, but I listen to the show because I agree with a lot of his takes and opinions. And I view him more of as like a social political commentator. I hate to break it to you, buddy. You're retarded, okay? Because most of the shit I say on here is actually not a serious opinion. All right? I'm really sorry to break it to you, but you are stupid. And if you come to this show looking for what to think, you're going to leave dumber. And I think that it's in your best interest to stop listening to the show, because I'm concerned for your well-being. If you come to this show thinking like, oh, what am I going to think this week? You're gonna piss off a lot of people at on break at work. If you're coming to work with opinions that I've said that are jokes, and you've been like, fuck, that's true. You've got issues, man. You're that guy people talk about of like, oh yeah, this guy's a pretty good bloke, but fuck, the shit he says is insane. So you don't find me funny. That's fine. I'm not upset about that at all. But please don't find me correct. Because that's even worse. Because I'm trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be insightful or correct at all here. I'm just waffling. Now that that's out of the way, I saved this story for you, Keelan, because I know that last episode, and we got a few comments about it, you missed out on the very long email from the 2 trans women who got raided by the police. and they are poor. So I know that is something that you love. So I decided to save a story for you. You know when you go out to dinner and you bring home something for the dog? That's what happened. I thought I'll save this for my mate Keelan. Now I went out to dinner a couple weeks ago at a pub in Frankston. Ooh. Small pub in Frankston. And I sat across from a big table of like 15 to 20 people celebrating a birthday. Whole big family. Now, they all seemed like very ugly people. Sorry. They all seemed like very lovely people. But I'm telling you, I have never in my life seen a collection of uglier people in my life. I sat across. Now, I don't want to judge here, and I don't think they're bad people. I think they're all probably very good people. They all seem very happy. But I've never in my life seen a more unfortunate looking family. I don't think I've ever seen a collection of uglier people in my life. And I once saw a guy, chaperoning a group of disabled people around. These people were like physically, mentally healthy, but they were the most unfortunate looking family I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't focus on any of the conversation that was going on at my table because we got there before them. So I got to watch them all arrive. And every single family member that arrived was uglier than the last. It was a whole family of like 20 plus people, but looking at them, you'd be like, that's a family of 4. Because they were all 4s. Every single one of them, it was a whole family of 4s. I've never seen it in my life. Because normally, right, ugly people, I believe this with every fiber of my being, ugly couples make beautiful children. If you look at the most beautiful people in the world as adults, if you look at their parents, the parents are always like 4s.
Yeah.
All right? Ugly people accidentally make beautiful kids. It's very rare that when you see a beautiful man or woman, a model, it's very rare for their parents to also be hot. They always come from uglies. All right? That's how hot people are made. Broken clock is right twice a day situation. I don't have anything else to say about this family. It was absolutely shocking to me how unfortunate looking every single one of them was. And I know that's really mean and judgmental, but I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks. So there you go, Keelan.
That's good. Can I add to that?
Yeah.
There's a chain of restaurants called Moe's.
Yeah.
And there's one near the airport. Whenever we come back from Canberra, we stop off at Moe's because we love watching the very ugly and inbred families get together and have dinner.
It was that situation.
Yeah.
It was.
It makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. And don't get upset at me like you don't sit there at home watching The Biggest Loser going, oh, I'm glad I'm not that fat. All right. We all do it. Every single one of us likes looking at other people and being like, I'm glad I'm not them. And for me, that was my dinner, is just, I'm telling you, man, there wasn't a single hottie.
How many were there? You said
It was about 20 people, and half of them were women, and they were all bearded. I'm talking.
What kind of pub was it?
I'm talking left eye lower than the right eye ugly. I'm not talking fat. I'm talking like nose pointed to the sky, teeth touching the floor ugly.
Oh, God. What kind of pub was it? Was it like a
It was one in Frankston.
Was it a family pub?
That was like a family one, yeah.
I love it.
It was really good stuff.
It's good fun.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good fun.
It is it's kind of like a harsh reminder coming back to a real city, not like a fake city that I live in Canberra. It's you see homeless people and ugly people.
And some of them are homeless. Homeless uglies.
Yeah.
And I just feel so blessed to have been cured from that. I've left the ugly community. I was there, all right? So spiritually, I'm still quite unattractive. You know, like those are my people.
You've always had handsome energy though.
You reckon?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
You just like
I look in the mirror and I'm just fucking like, yeah, that guy's hot. I'm just blind.
Yeah,
I'm delusional, is what you're saying.
Well, like I feel like a 3
Yeah.
isn't like walking down the street with confidence. This is actually something I wanted to bring up. I was thinking about this the other day. There's a type of guy.
Yeah.
There's 2 types of.
So what you're saying is uglies need to know their place.
Yeah. Well, no. Uglies need to have a attitude adjustment, maybe. There's 3 types of dudes.
Yeah.
There's handsome guys who know they're handsome and are a bit arrogant.
They're the worst.
They're the worst. There's mid guys who on some days look better, but on other days look like 2s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I fall into that category.
Yeah, I think we're both there.
Yep. And then there's fuglies with sorry. That was wrong. That's wrong. There's uglies with fugly energy.
Right.
Fugly being fucking ugly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was walking out of the petrol station the other day, and these guys have.
I thought you were describing gay ugly people.
Why?
You said fugly.
Yeah. I don't get it.
Good. You're a better man than I.
I was walking out of the petrol station, and there's this 2 walking out, walking in with the confidence of the 1.
Yeah.
And he like,
and you got to be like, come on, man, you're twice as hot as how you're walking. One of my favorite Jim Jeffries jokes is when he's talking about like he's going, I'm a 5. All right, but have you ever seen a 2? And he's like, fuck, have you ever seen a 1? You never see a 1. A 1 will ruin your day.
And he's walking. I'm walking out, and I think I have a confident walk.
Yeah.
And I watch him like recoil as I walk past him. He kind of goes as I've walked past.
Yeah,
and
because he looked at you and he was like, "That's a 1." Are you sure he didn't do that?
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that. But it left me with this really frustrated feeling for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Dude, get some confidence.
Yeah.
Don't be so shy to walk past me.
Absolutely. This table of 24s, all right? They were some of the ugliest people I've ever seen in my life, and they all looked happy, and they all had confidence, and they were happy to be there. Even though there's terrible people like me who's like, man, you guys are so ugly, I got to do 20 minutes on my podcast.
I think you can be ugly, but you can't lack confidence.
Yeah, you got it. Confidence is key, man. Confidence actually makes you hot. If you don't believe me, all right? I was doing this with a fucking gap tooth and a lisp for like a year. All right? So don't come to me about, I feel I've got a lack of confidence. Bro, I had a gap tooth and a lisp for a year. I was spitting on folks, all right? Doing videos. You can do it. All of this to say, the uglies are better people than the rest of us because they have to be, all right? You ever meet someone who used to be fat? Great person. Or very malicious. They go one. Usually they become a great person. Very rarely it goes wrong, and they go, oh, everyone's treating me better because they think they thought I was ugly, and they become evil, and they return the hurt they received to others. They learn nothing. Maybe that's kind of a little bit what I'm doing right now because about 2 years ago I would have fit right in on that table.
I will never be a friend with an ugly.
Okay,
No,
now this is heaps.
Never be friends with an ugly, self-conscious person. But
Right.
I love ugly, confident people.
Right.
And also stones, glass building, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like, I'm aware.
You can see ugly and stupid. Can't even. Yeah. See, that's why we get along less well now, because I used to be ugly and confident. Now I'm like a 6.5 and confident. Keelan's like, ugh.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, we love that.
But all good. People in London, especially ugly. Have you? Okay, last thing, and then we'll move on. The way they hold their face. Have you noticed it?
No, what do you mean? The way Londoners hold their face.
hold their face like with their chins out and their mouth slightly open and their lips like, yeah, like that. You walk around, you see not
It's
tourists.
Tuesday, isn't it?
That's how locals walk around.
Oh, fuck. Bottle of water. Guys, please join the Patreon so I can fucking replace this busted mic arm. That's so fun. I don't think they're holding their face like that. I think that's the only way their face can sit because of their teeth.
I was sitting at the London Library, whichever one you recommended I go to. I was doing some work, and a group of uni students were sitting next to me doing their work. Yeah. And they were, it sounds awful, but they were so ugly in my peripheral, I had to leave.
You had to leave?
Yeah, I was getting upset.
That's awesome. Guys, it's all about loving yourself on the inside, all right? That's what matters. Keelan was actually disturbed by their character, not what they looked like on the outside. Anyway, speaking of beautiful people with amazing character, Johnny Somali is facing mandatory prison sentence as new charge emerges. I haven't kept up with this guy for a while, but I just checked in with him because when did I do a video on him? I did a video on him over a month ago, I think. Maybe more. And he was like, he was in Japan and he got arrested in Japan, but they kind of gave him a slap on the wrist. And then he went to South Korea and started doing the same stuff. He's like a nuisance streamer where he's one of those like annoying, loud American dudes who just stream themselves harassing members of the public and women, getting really drunk and just being a fucking menace. And he started doing this in South Korea. Now, the difference between Japan and South Korea is like South Korea is kinda, not really, but kinda at war, right? They're bordering North Korea, And it's like a country where they're not at war, but war could kick off at any minute for any reason, right? So every single man does military service, right? So the entire country is full of people that can just fuck you up. It's not a place that you want to be messing around, harassing women. And this Johnny Somali guy did all this horrible stuff. Like he went to a monument for comfort women and like sexually danced on it and touched them. And if you look into comfort women, it's like, they were basically just civilians that were used as sex slaves by invaders, right? And so it's like essentially, doing the Holocaust at, the Holocaust Museum type shit. It's like the worst thing that ever happened in their country, and he's doing that to the monument. So he gets arrested for this and a bunch of other things like being a nuisance, harassing people. A bunch of women have reported him. He's in real severe, actual big trouble. And South Korea does not fuck around, their judicial system. And he's currently, I don't know how, but he's been arrested and he's currently in court. But he's a free man in between court sessions, and he's been streaming. And he's just making it so much worse for himself. Like literally he's getting drunk on stream and calling the judge a bitch that's presiding over his case, which is not finished yet, calling him a bitch, talking about what he's been charged with, and then going out and doing more of it. Right? So as he's being charged in court and as his court case is ongoing, he's copping more and more charges. And it seems like he just wants to go to prison. It seems like he will actually do a lot of time. And I don't know if he like has this huge self-destructive streak and he actually really wants to do heaps of time, or if he thinks he'll get away with it because, he has gotten away with it in every other country that he's gone to. He's just gotten like either kicked out or escaped without consequences, or like in Japan, he's got like a little slap on the wrist and told to leave. I reckon South Korea is going to keep him because someone has to teach him this lesson, right? Infamous streamer Johnny Somali has been hit with yet another criminal charge that carries mandatory prison time if he's found guilty. And my mate Atozy, he flew over to South Korea because he's a big, like, massive drama YouTuber. He flew to South Korea and went to the trial.
What?
Yeah, I think he might still be there, or he was there, but he went to one of the hearings and like was face to face with this Johnny Somali guy. Like such a big shit stirring moment of like, because he's ripping millions of views off covering this case, and he's actually flown and gone there and is filming this dude outside the courtroom. So funny. Johnny Somali, real name Ramzi Khalid Ismail, has been hit with what's funny about that?
Nothing.
Geez, pick a name. Ramzi Khalid Ismail. That's like English, Arab, and Jewish. Like no wonder the guy's full of inner turmoil. He's fucking. All three of his names are fighting with each other over who actually gets to live there. Ramzi Khalid Ismail has been hit with a number of criminal charges since the South Korean government first got involved in November 2024 during his stay. This has been going on for a long time. The streamer was charged with obstruction of business after causing chaos at a 7-Eleven convenience store during a broadcast, along with 2 counts of the Minor Crimes Act for using a dead fish to disturb passengers on a bus and twerking on the subway. My toxic trait is I think this guy is really funny, and I love watching it. And I think he should go to prison, and I think that no one should do it. But I can't help myself. Every time I turn him on, I'm having a little giggle. I didn't like the desecrating the statue stuff, but wandering around South Korea with a dead stinking fish on public transport, I can hold 2 ideas in my mind. That's terrible. It should not be done. Fuck, that's a good bit. That is very funny. Because the joke there being that would be very stinky and disruptive to the public. In addition to yet another possible obstruction of business charge, a legal expert who's been following Somali's journey in South Korean courts says there's even more trouble coming his way, and the punishment could carry mandatory time in jail. A Seoul-based lawyer known as Legal Mindset went live on March 27 to explain a fifth charge that he says has been officially merged into his case. So that's what's happening is he's being charged with like fairly minor crimes, but the more he streams, the more charges get just thrown into the court case that's currently happening. According to Legal Mindset, this charge has a mandatory prison time with no option of a fine, meaning he's almost guaranteed to get thrown behind bars. What's the charge? Oh yes, so this is the real big one. I forgot about this. The charge that has been merged in is related to AI deepfakes that he made, which included one of Korean streamer Bong Bong, who he used to make it look like. That's like the big Chinese city being called Chongqing. It's like, that's what it's actually called, but me saying it sounds very racist. Oh, where did you go while you were in China? Oh, I went to some city called, I can't remember it. Was it Chongqing? You know, how fucking racist does that sound, especially with the Australian accent? Yeah, I was talking to this Chinese bloke. I don't know where he's from. Probably from Chongqing, you know? Yeah, I was watching this fucking Korean streamer. Can't remember their name. Probably Bong Bong. One Korean streamer, Bong Bong, who he used to make it look like he and the influencer were kissing. See, that is, that's just digital sexual harassment. I think the better that AI gets, the more harsh these charges are going to have to be, because people are just going to be making more and more of it. It's already been made heaps. And it's really, I saw after he's been charged with this AI deepfake of like digitally sexually harassing a streamer, I saw a stream clip of him, like he got drunk, he's calling the judge a bitch, and then he goes out and he stream snipes other Korean streamers. So he'll have someone else's stream up on his phone while he's streaming and like track them down and just like scare them. So he's like tracking down these like small lady Korean streamers and like chasing them down the street, filming himself doing this, going, hey! They're screaming. And he's just going to go to prison for this shit. Because I watched the woman's point of view, she's terrified. She runs away from him, goes to her apartment, comes out when he's gone, and then just goes straight to the cops and like streams herself reporting him to the police. So I don't think the guy's going to be leaving Korea anytime soon. This falls under a sex crime, the lawyer explained. It will no longer after Ramsey is guilty of this, whether he is proved guilty by the court or whether he pleads guilty. You can safely say, without it being defamatory at all in any country, that he is a sex criminal. This deepfake is sexual because in Korean law, French kissing is considered sexual, he continued. Regardless of the content, distributing AI content without consent is illegal, but under Korean law, if you're French kissing, that's sexual. Oh, so that's interesting. So in their legal system, you can't even make a funny AI picture of your mate, which is good that we're not in Korea, because I've made so many of Keelan, and they will be posted to Spearhead Sundays. You can go and check that out on the Instagram. Those are up right now. None of them are sexual, and not the ones that I'm posting anyway. That's not all. He also explained that in South Korea, streaming such content for profit carries a prison sentence of no more than 7 years. Oh, no more. I thought it said no less. As he also distributed the material using an information and communications network like Discord and other platforms. Johnny Somali is receiving an aggravated sentence because he streamed it. He put it on Discord because he had to do it for the content. That's incredible. So he's awaiting a second court date on April 9 after claiming he wasn't aware of the second obstruction of business charge against him. So even he's showing up to court. They're being like, all right, so you're being charged with this. And he's like, huh? When did I do that? And they just show a video of him doing it. Ah, yes, that was last night's stream. Well, wrap that one in. And now there's yet another charge coming his way that could extend his stay in South Korea for years. However, he did plead guilty to the first obstruction of business charge and the 2 counts of the Minor Crimes Act. So yeah, I think this guy doesn't understand that he's not in Japan. He's in like a borderline a wartime country in South Korea. You don't want to fuck around with them. So good luck to him. That's absolutely hilarious. Man, I went to the. Oh, okay. I got to talk about this. So obviously my shows are coming up, and I thought it would be a really cool idea to print off like a really funny like pamphlet type thing. That I'm not going to spoil the surprise because they're going to be at shows. I'm just giving them out to everyone who comes to the show, and I designed them on Canva because I wanted to like parody a really corporate looking flyer. You know those flyers that you get for like real estate agents and like liberal candidates and stuff like that. It's like that. And so I spent ages making them up, and then I printed off 500 of these. It cost me $350. All right. That's how much I love the people that come to the shows. And I was so excited to receive it, and I finally received it. And I just got 500 of these, and I accidentally printed off the template, not the fucking edited version. I have 500 flyers of a half-finished thing about the podcast. So it says building a fucked podcast, and then there's this guy in a construction outfit giving the thumbs up that's not me. What the fuck am I going to do? And then the rest of it is just like lorem ipsum and like stock shit about general contracting and quality assurance that I didn't change. I printed off the wrong version, not the edited one. So I've got 500 of these. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. It's just landfill. I feel terrible. 500 of these. What a waste of ink and paper. People going off about AI-generated content wasting resources. What about me when I try and make some art and I print off the wrong version? That's much worse. What a fucking waste of money. Guys, please support me on Patreon so I can spend it very irresponsibly. What a fucking idiot I am. 500. You know what? If you guys buy a Serial Pest t-shirt in the next week, you'll get 50 flyers sent in your package. You can do what you like with them. Put them in the neighbor's letterbox. I don't know. What am I going to do with these? I can't. Comment below. Let me know what I should fucking do with these, because I can't even give them out at the show because it's got a picture of someone else on them, and it just says building a fucked podcast, and then nothing says anything about Spearhead Sundays in any of the... I was so excited for these to arrive. So, yeah, that's annoyed me. Anyway, in other things that have annoyed me, I went to the dentist, and you know how I went last time I went to the dentist. It was a disaster. All right, I had a terrible reaction to the adrenaline in the general anesthetic, and I'm thinking... Like, literally, I went to the dentist to get 4 fillings, which is where the metal wrapped around my teeth for my spacer because I couldn't brush my teeth properly. That combined with the CPAP machine gave me a bunch of cavities on those 4 teeth. So I went in once to get all 4 fillings done in one go, and he gives me 4 general anesthetic injections. I didn't know this. They have adrenaline in them. And it appears that my body, a less common side effect, is some people just have full-on fucking adrenaline rush panic attacks because of the adrenaline in the general, right? So he puts 4 in me, which is a really high dose. And then I just start to freak out. I'm crying. I'm shaking. I'm hyperventilating for like an hour. I had to tap out 20 minutes into the thing. I didn't even get 1 filling, right? So 2 weeks ago, I go back for a teeth clean and no anesthetic, no nothing. Something's going on with my body, I think because of the surgeries, because mentally I'm not scared of the dentist. I've never had an issue with the dentist ever. Even going there, I'm not nervous. I'm not freaking out, nothing. As soon as they start, my body's like, they're going to kill you. It's like a physical reaction. My body remembers what happened to me on the table. So it's like, you can't do that, well, you're going to die. So now, instead of doing 1 fucking dentist appointment, because I'm such a baby, we've split it up into 6. All right? Because I went in for a teeth clean. They do the bottom rung, and then I just tapped out. I'm like, that's it. They're like, oh, we're not even halfway through the appointment. I was there for like 25 minutes. I just put my hands up. And they're like, oh, you want a break? And I said, yeah, for weeks. I need to go home. So I tapped out, and then I come back, right? This is yesterday, thinking that I'm going to get my top teeth cleaned, right? So no tooth filling. He just goes out of nowhere, bang, sticks me with the general. And he goes, don't worry, I've looked at your notes, because this is the same guy that I had last time when I had that huge panic attack, which by the way, I think was like over a year ago. Maybe.
What?
when I had the huge panic attack.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was over a year ago. And they were like, oh, we'll see you in 2 weeks. And I just didn't come back. So now I'm finally going back because I need to look after myself. I think I'm going in for a teeth clean. He just jabs me with the general and goes, all right, so we're doing a filling. I'm like, huh? And he goes, we're doing a filling, yeah? I'm like, all right. Anyway, he gets to work. It canes. It hurts so much because the general with less adrenaline in it, so that I don't have a fucking huge panic attack, doesn't work. So then I just put my hands up and he goes, I can't stop. I've just opened your tooth. We have to finish it. I'm like, fuck, stick me with the general then. Give me the good stuff. He sticks me with the general. I'm fine. In 10 minutes, I can't feel anything, but my whole body is like, in the fucking chair, I'm having this huge, like, physical reaction. My feet are going. I'm, like, banging my chest, trying to calm myself down. My heart rate's up. I'm sweating. I'm fucking shaking. He sees me freaking out and he goes, don't worry. I'm like, in my head, I'm literally not scared. Like, I'm not worried at all, but my whole body is having this huge reaction to the adrenaline. Like, I was less worried when he was drilling into my teeth and I could feel it. It felt bad, but I wasn't like freaking out. As soon as he puts the adrenaline in me, I'm like ready to run a marathon. And this morning, how fucked was I? I feel hungover. That was yesterday. I couldn't sleep last night. Like I don't know, maybe my body's sensitive to the adrenaline or what, but I was like up until 3 a.m. literally like bouncing. I could not fucking sleep. I shouldn't have done it like yesterday because I got the show on Saturday. I feel like I'm on the come down from my needles in Frankston. What are they putting in that stuff? Is anyone else having reactions like this? I got to do this 4 more times. I'm going back in 3 weeks to get another one. I'm doing it after my shows so that it doesn't disrupt. But fuck, man. Next time I go in, I'm just going to tell them, don't even give me the soft stuff. Just give me the good stuff straight away and get it done. And I'm just going to be up for 3 days. And then I literally feel like I'm on the come down. I feel like really weird and groggy. It's so strange. And that's never happened to me at the dentist. I don't know if it's because of the surgery or if I'm having a reaction to the adrenaline. I don't know. It's so weird. But one thing that's great about it is I get to go there 4 more times. And I get to do that 4 more times. That's awesome. So after that, I'm like, man, like I bought the fancy electric toothbrush. I'm like, I'm not coming back here. I don't want any more fucking fillings in my life. I've turned into, like I'm full on like, the electric toothbrush has like a program that goes for 2 minutes 30, which is the max setting, and I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm not fucking, I got a water flosser thing. I'm using it like every other day. I'm not going back. You know what's really weird? Because he cleaned the bottom rung of my teeth, my top teeth feel so different. But I do not want to go back. Anyway, look after your teeth, guys. It's important. I've got some emails here. If you want to send an email, shoot it through to podcast@loosespears.com. If you have some life advice, if you need some life advice, if you have a story for me, or if you just have a question. Now, I do have an update, Keelan, from our trans sisters in the UK that quick recap, go and listen to the last episode if you would like the most problematic reading of the email, but I'll just recap it. These 2 beautiful women, they moved to, I've got the email here. Where did they move to? They moved from Cornwall to Liverpool, and within like a week, within 3 weeks, they get raided by the police because the person that used to live there was a drug dealer, and the cops didn't realize they'd moved out, so they raid these 2 trans women and go through all of their sex toys and their diaries and misgender them. These 2 beautiful queens. Now, this woman has sent me an update email.
Good.
After I've read it, and this is the length of the first email.
Oh my God.
A whole page. This is the length of the second. So I'm feeling there's some shortness in the email. Perhaps they were not the happiest with how I read their initial email, maybe were a bit upset with some of the jokes that I told. It could have been how many times I accidentally misgendered them in the reading may have something to do with it. I am trying my best. All right? Whenever I talk to a trans person, it's a bit of a pink elephant situation. Don't think about the pink elephant. What are you thinking about? Pink elephant. All right? Don't say he, don't say he, don't say he. Most of the time I don't, but some of the time I do. You know, like, because I have a lot of trans people in my audience and we love them, right? But I do crowd work, obviously, with people. And a few times in a row, I've done crowd work with a trans person and have been informed later that I had misgendered them the entire time. And I am like, no, I fucking didn't. I know what gender they are and I used the correct one because they told me their name and I respect their pronouns. And then I go back and I watch the footage and I was like, oh, I'm a bigot. In my head, I'm saying the right thing. But anyway, I'm trying my best. We're living and we're learning and it's all about growth. All right. So love the segment. However, this is their response. Love the segment. However, you might want to get your eyes checked out. And then they've included the dictionary definition of prominently. And I think that's because this paragraph from the previous email, it said, both of us are trans, but prominently women. And I assumed that was a typo. And I was like, oh, do they mean predominantly? Like they're mostly women, but they're gender fluid? But they've clarified, no, they meant prominently women, right? And this is how English they are. So I was pretty spot on with the accent. They're very posh English, huge vocabulary. At least one of these queens has. And they've included the dictionary definition of prominently for me. Prominently, adverb, with an important role to a large extent. 2, in a manner that projects or protrudes from something. 3, so as to catch the attention conspicuously. I think that's the one they're referring to. So they're saying we're obviously women.
I gathered that when they were talking about their massive tits.
Maybe that's what they were saying prominently. So maybe it's 2 and 3 in a manner that projects or protrudes. So they were talking about their massive female breasts and the fact that they are conspicuously bitches. Just 2 conspicuously female bitches. Not just because they're obviously women, but because of their massive, heaving, protruding breasts. So that's the first correction, and I would like to apologize for my mistake.
Oh my God.
And then they've gone for the mystery of how to read Lego. They've included a Wikipedia link to magnifying glass. Did I not read Lego correctly in the previous email? I don't remember. I must have gotten it wrong. I can't remember doing that. So I don't know. But in there, they talk about Lego a lot. I don't think I got it wrong. I must have. And then they go, here's a nice comment, the last comment. I was also watching you from 5 or 6 years ago, way before the gender confirmation surgery. Though love the chin. Are they talking about theirs or mine? Hey? Are they talking about theirs or mine? No, they're taking a shot at me saying that my chin was gender confirmation surgery. I'll have you know that I couldn't fucking breathe, all right? If you were breathing through your pussy, I wouldn't say it was gender confirmation surgery if you got one attached. No, we love the queens. And they've said, Keelan's poverty brings us all hope, from Zoe.
Oh, jeez. They also did spell my name incorrectly, which is a bit of an L on their part, but that's okay.
Right. Well, they've spelled it wrong here as well. So who needs a fact check really here? All right. Keelan, no H. There's a H there. So Zoe, back to the drawing board. No, for real, we love a bit of banter, and I do find it hilarious that the however many times I misgendered them, what really pissed them off was that I read Lego wrong.
I don't know how you read Lego wrong unless they say
which really goes to show
way.
that they're probably more autistic than they are trans. which is
So
very
it's
funny.
Zoe who wrote this.
From the mystery of how to read Lego. Am I saying Lego wrong?
How does a British
Lego.
person say it?
Lego?
Lego.
Leg-
I say Lego. You say it the same way I say it.
How do you say Lego? Lego? Lego.
She said
Legos.
they found evidence which was actually our Lego sets in bubble wrap. You can see the Lego through the bubble wrap.
We're gonna have to go back and listen to the recording of me saying Lego to see. Am I saying Lego wrong or did I read it wrong? Lego. Anyway. Last email here, and then we're gonna get out of here and do the Patreon podcast for all of our beautiful patrons. Life advice / tips on creativity. Hey Lou, looking for some life or general advice about being a creative. For some context, I've worked full-time in childcare for the past 4.5 years. I love it, but I'm a huge introvert and using all my social energy at work is really beginning to take a toll on my personal life. I'm always absolutely exhausted when I get home and am reluctant to hang out with friends and family in my spare time because I feel like I have no time to recharge and do the things I actually enjoy on my own. I'm sure that last bit is quite a common problem at the moment, but it's been a struggle all the same. I've gotten to a point where I've found myself daydreaming about having some meaningless, soul-crushing office job just so I'm not so wrecked all the time. I know that probably would not solve the problem, but that's where I'm at. On the other hand, I've quite always enjoyed making up stories. I used to do an exercise with some friends where we would choose a piece of music and give ourselves a time of, say, 20 minutes to write a story inspired by the instrumental. That's cool. I always really enjoyed those and feel I wrote some pretty decent stuff occasionally. This leads me to think it might be cool to be an author. I am, of course, aware that that's quite a competitive market and difficult to get into and make a name for yourself in. Plus, I'm not sure that a casual interest and a twinkle in my eyes means that I actually have the chops to create something that people will like. I have a couple of ideas for worlds to set stories in, but every time I try to look at them critically, it seems insane, even though I think they're cool. Plus, I don't want to turn another passion into a job and have the joy of it forcefully ripped from me. On top of this, my partner and my family are considering starting a family of our own. My partner and I, not my partner and my family. I was thinking about fucking my cousin and having kids. My partner and I are considering starting a family of our own soon, so I don't want to be spreading myself too thin. Working hard trying to start a new thing while working the old one that's already wiping me out. Long story short, I would love to hear what you think about dealing with a job you love that runs counter to your personality, managing work and social life, starting a journey as a creative, and even how I might hone my writing or creative skills. Thanks for all you do. Been loving watching The Big Swing. We love it. And I can't wait to see you live again this year. Have a shit one, Alex. This is a great question. So I'm noticing a few things here. Firstly, you are scared about what other people think of your writing before you've even done it. Really good advice. Prove that you're shit. Prove you're a bad writer. Write something bad. What's going to happen? If you write something that's shit, what will actually happen? You'll enjoy the writing process, you'll get better, and it might actually be good. Or it might be bad, and you'll improve. You obviously have a problem, which is your taste exceeds your talent, which is a problem that every single creative or athletic person has, or anyone who wants to do anything, is that they know where they want to be, and because they know so much about the field they want to enter, the art form they want to do, the sport they want to play, they are acutely aware of their position and their skill set and the massive gap between them and where they want to be or where they have to be to compete. But the only way to close the gap is to close the gap. You got to be shit. Like no one expects someone playing piano to be good for the first few years. Everyone expects them to be bad. The same is true of being a writer, of being a comedian, of everything. I experienced this. It was brutal getting up on stage and performing for people who were disappointed that you were not good. At least you don't have an audience. You can write something and never let anyone read it. I had to go up there in front of like 20 or 30 people that knew who I was, some of them. So they were like, oh, this guy's really funny. And then I just fucking wasn't. Or people that were like, oh, this guy sucks. This is bad. That's way more brutal. And that was like at least a year of me just being shit before I got average. And now I'm fucking amazing. But you got to go through that. The writing, you just have to do it. And I bet you do have time. I get up in the morning and before I do anything, I write 3 pages in a notebook. Everyone has time to do that. It takes 30 minutes. Everyone can wake up 30 minutes early to do push-ups, to do their writing, to send an email, to do whatever you've got 30 minutes in the morning. If you wake up 30 minutes earlier, you can do that. However, working full-time in a job that burns you out when you're a huge introvert, I relate to that a lot because I did that to myself. And I also used to, even when I left the workforce and was just employed by me, I set up my life in a way that I couldn't tolerate because I'm a very introverted person, believe it or not. People are like, wow, you're an introvert, but you like perform on stage and you've got a podcast. Yeah, dude, I have a solo podcast where I talk for an hour and no one else says anything unless permitted to speak. That's right. And then I get on stage and I perform for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, and the only response you're allowed to make is laughing or clapping or being silent. Like there's not much. I'm talking, but there's no conversation going on, you know? So yeah, I relate to that a lot where like working in a job that fucking burns you out socially and then you just want to go home and just work and rest and be in solitude and you're burned out and you can't really do anything else. I relate to that heaps and kind of the only answer to that is either you need to figure out a way to do your job differently so that you don't feel that exhaustion and your that burnout. Like, are you giving too much of yourself away at work? Like, are you acquiescing to every single need that comes up from every single other person? Like, are you not looking after yourself when you're at work? Like, do you really need to be surrounded by people all the time? Maybe you do in childcare. I don't really know. I imagine you can't just leave the kids playing by the pool and go sit on your phone in the office, you know, just hope they don't drown. You probably can't do that. But you know what I mean? Like, are there any moments that you can take for yourself? Are there any things that you're doing that you don't really need to be doing? Are you going above and beyond to the point of harming yourself? But yeah, using all your social energy at work is probably a bad thing because I know that when I was doing that, I really struggled to write. And I've really understood that that I think that this is even true of creative people that aren't super big introverts. I think that solitude is unbelievably important for any sort of idea generating because you need to think. It's sometimes very helpful to bounce ideas off other people, but only after you've got those ideas and you have something to workshop. Whether it's a sketch or a video or like a joke, I can't come to like group writing sessions with nothing and expect to get something out of it. I have to be alone and be going for a lot of walks and a lot of like sitting and thinking. Like how I used to structure my work is I used to have editors and people coming over every single day and thinking that would help me create, but it just kind of stressed me out and burned me out because I was just surrounded by people and I was giving too much of myself away and then I didn't have anything left for me and my ideas. Now how I've set my stuff up is I still work with lots and lots of people, but it's pretty much purely remote. I see Keelan once a week, pretty much, and I see, but not even anymore because Keelan's moved to Canberra. Once a month now, and I see Mitch probably once a month in person, and other than that, I'm in contact with people as needed, and I've just figured out how to structure my work around what my brain needs. Because at the end of the day, I am the product and what I'm making and what I'm creating. If I am not looked after and if I'm not structuring my life in a way that helps me to be creative and to do it well, you might as well be an athlete that's training but not eating. Or training but not sleeping. You know what I mean? Like you have to rest and you have to look after yourself. That said, I've only been able to do that because I've managed to leave my job and managed to figure out a way to make money and to fund all of this and to pay the bills with my art form. Before that, it's tough, but you kind of got to suck it up and just push through it. And that is tough. And the only way I was able to do that when I still needed a job because comedy was making no money, and in fact, it was just costing money for many years, is, I went out and I intentionally got a soulless, mindless job. I worked in a call center. I didn't talk to fucking anyone other than the customers. For some reason, it didn't really feel like using social energy because it was just kind of solving people's problems. You wouldn't actually really talk to them. I didn't talk to any coworkers. I didn't go out to anything at night with them. I didn't partake in the work culture at all. I was a recluse. I think there's even like on some Reddit thread somewhere I saw years ago, someone complained about working with me, saying that I was really selfish and not a team player. And it's like, yeah, bro, we worked in a call center. What do you mean a fucking team player? What group project are we helping with? We're helping the bank make more money for shareholders. What group project were we working on? All right, I was doing my calls, you were doing yours, and you're upset because I didn't do fucking cocaine with you on Friday night. Okay, that doesn't make me selfish. That just means I wanted to go home after my soul-sucking corporate job so that I can do what I actually want to do. Have fun at the fucking call center you undeniably still work at, talking shit about me on Reddit, you fucking loser. See, this is what happens if you don't follow your dream. You end up being some bitch working in a call center complaining about someone who actually did do what they wanted to do on fucking Reddit. Sorry, bit of a detour. I forgot about that. It pissed me off. Why don't you just do this 20-minute thing? You've got 20 minutes every morning. Why don't you just fucking get up in the morning and for the next like 3 weeks, spend 20 minutes listening to a song and writing a story and don't show anyone. Just get better at it. Just, do it for the sake of doing it. I would really take a look at maybe switching industries or switching jobs within the childcare industry if doing this is burning you out so much. Because even let's say you don't want to be a writer, right? Let's say you love your job, but it's burning you out everywhere. You can't really be a good partner to your wife. You can't really be a good father to your kid that you'll eventually have if you're coming home every day so socially exhausted from looking after other people's children and worrying about other people's parents that you come home just a fucking shell. Sounds like that's not good for you. I think that I read this really, really interesting book that I would recommend to anyone who feels like an introvert and who struggles at work or in the world. It's called Quiet, and it's about how essentially the entire world and every workplace, the government, how our entire society is structured and designed and built, it's built by extroverts for extroverts. And it makes sense that it's been built that way because, I know as an introverted person, if I was involved in discussions of like, oh, how do we build a 500-person office? I'd be like, I don't fucking know. I don't really want to be involved in this. I don't really know how people want to operate or whatever. And the extroverted person who feels naturally inclined to like interacting with and being with other people is naturally going to be like, oh, I'll have a crack at this. I'll do this. And anyway, because of that, fucking hell. The patreon.com/loosespears. The entire world has been built by and for extroverted people, often to the detriment of even extroverted people, but even more so introverted people. This is stuff like open plan offices where nothing fucking gets done because every single conversation can be heard by everyone. When they've worked out that actually solitude and closed plan offices are actually way more productive for everyone, including extroverted people. Really interesting book that might give you a bit more clarity on like why you're feeling like this and the solutions to it. But that's what I would recommend, dude, is I would seriously consider looking at if you are this fucking burned out that you can't spend time with your friends and family because of your normal job that you have, it might be time to consider switching industries or switching roles within that industry. And with the writing, if you worried about breaking into a tough industry or this or that, or oh, if I wrote a book, would it even sell? That I was not thinking those things when I started comedy. Like, obviously, I would like to be super fucking famous, but the more I worry about sales and selling shit and promoting stuff and marketing and all that kind of stuff, the less I worry about actually being very funny and releasing good stuff, which is what actually sells tickets, what actually grows my career, what actually gets people through the door, and what actually makes people buy the t-shirt. Like I focus on making a good t-shirt, not making a good fucking marketing campaign for the t-shirt or stressing about if anyone's going to buy the t-shirt before I even make it. It's like, nah, I'm just going to make a really fucking good one. And, if it's good, people will get it because it's cool and it looks good. If I haven't written anything or published anything, just be shit. Nothing will happen. Be bad at it. You might accidentally write something good. If you don't, you'll improve. And you absolutely have 20 minutes every morning to put on a song and fucking write. If your house is too noisy or you get distracted by other people, fucking do it in the car. Do it on the train on the way to work. Probably don't do it while driving. You may crash and die. But you know what I mean. You got 20 minutes. And I would say that a big reason why every time you think about writing or a dream or whatever, or a thing that you have, every time you think about that, if you come up with 35 reasons why it's impossible, that's true. It is impossible. But if every time you think about it, you try and come up with 35 reasons why it is possible, it becomes possible. Fake it till you make it. And also, if the only time you think about your thing, you have negative thoughts and you're about how exhausted you are and this and that, it's probably a big sign that you're actually living your entire life incorrectly. If your whole life is just going to a job that makes you feel like shit when you're not at the job, you got to change jobs. You'd be happier with less money. That's obviously easier said than done, but I've been there, man. I've had several jobs that I absolutely fucking hated. I didn't come from money. I didn't have anything to fall back on. I was broke for years. I left my job. I came back to my job. I've talked about this a lot. I've struggled a lot. I've even gone through this with all my health stuff. It's all fucking possible. Like, I've done it. As exhausted as you are, I probably felt way worse for like 2 years and I was still fucking doing it because you got to do it. And if you want to do it, you will do it. So, and if you can't do it, you got to have a look at your life and figure out why you actually can't. Is it just because you're scared, or is it because you're living your life in a way where you have no energy for fucking anything else? That's my advice. But good luck. 20 minutes a day, man. I know you have that. Or at night, or whenever. You can do that. After you finish work, fucking don't go home. Sit in the car and write for 20 minutes. You can do that. All right, that's it. We're going to continue on Patreon here. I've got I released my Warhammer World vlog. Mate, the coolest shit happened since. Okay? Don't shake your head like I'm talking shit. It's really fucking cool. We're going to talk about it on Patreon, which is up right now. Thank you so much. See you at the shows. Have a shit one. Bye.